Hello, everybody. It's me, Ross, and welcome to another edition of Kings of Anglia 5, where we rank, list all things Ipswich Town. And today I'm joined by Mark. And today, Mark, we're talking about 5 players Town released too soon. Of course, this is inspired by the Macaulay Bond story. What a story that is. First of all, how good has Macaulay Bond been since he signed on loan? Of course, he got released as a 14-year-old. Mark, he's just been unbelievable, hasn't he?
You couldn't have put it better. I don't think any player would have wanted it any differently coming back to their hometown club. He's been lucky enough to captain the side, which I think for him alone, if he just got a couple of goals, he would have been delighted. To captain your club as well, he would have been happy with that alone. But he's just been a real cult hero, and I hope this isn't just a short stay. Hopefully, this becomes a prolonged stay. It's just a really nice story all round, and something we haven't really had for a number of years. Something really for us all to get behind. I don't think there could be anyone watching this or any Town fan that can't get behind his story, because he's not just a footballer, he's one of us. We'd all love to be doing what Macaulay Bond's doing, and he's quite humble about it as well. He's still very much an Ipswich lad, and yeah, we just love him. Hopefully he will be ours.
Yeah, very soon. We're not going to jinx it. Touch every word
No.
possible if we can. And of course, this feature is taking a look at 5 players released too soon. Just like Macaulay, there's other players who got released or they were sold too early. We've got 5 players we're going to name very soon. But Mark, chuck some honourable mentions in there. Macaulay Bond will be top of everyone's list at the moment, but there's some other players we need to mention that aren't in the list.
Yeah, I think probably another big one, similar story to Macaulay Bond, is probably Nick Pope. He got released as a very young lad, and just like Macaulay, he's worked his way up. Similar path as well. I think he went non-league, and then they both ended up having a spell at Charlton. And then Nick Pope was probably one injury away from being, England's number one. A lot of people wanted him instead of Nick Pope. He is Nick Pope instead of Jordan Pickford in goal. And it's a shame, because I think we did at a time, there was a period probably when he was coming up, being, probably 18, 19, maybe not quite ready just yet. But you look at the goalkeepers where we went through that cycle of having so many lone keepers. We sort of had Alex McCarthy, David Stockdale, Stephen Henderson, who was awful. That period, we probably could have done with a young keeper coming through and maybe getting his opportunity, but it is so hard for goalkeepers for them to get their opportunities. Other honourable mentions, we've probably got Adam Webster. I'd probably put in there as well. I think it's more a bitter pill to swallow, because of we sold him for 3 million in one summer. We sold him to Mr. Mark Ashton, didn't we? And he turned him around very quickly for a £20 million transfer fee the following year. Linked to that is Matt Clark, another one who I think at the time Webster looked like a very good player, but lo and behold, as soon as he joins Ipswich, he's got his spell on the treatment table, booked in every season, consistently for every season. Matt Clark went the other way, didn't he? He went to Portsmouth and kind of leapfrogged. I don't know if they might have gone the same summer, actually. I can't remember now. But they did. They both ended up contracted to Brighton. I think he's at West Brom at the minute. So he's had a few spells in the Championship to cut his teeth. And again, another player where you look, and we probably could have done with a young centre half coming through. I think he's quite cultured, good on the ball. It would have been nice to have him through. A few other people, probably Tommy Miller's another one. Obviously, we let him go, similar to age, I believe, to Nick Pope and Macaulay Bond. Ended up coming back very swiftly, and one of my favourite Town players of all time. So perhaps that's another one that's got quite a nice ending. But I think as a whole, the club's been fairly good. If you go back before me and Ross were born, we were just twinkling our dad's eyes. When the likes of Kieran Dyer were coming through, Kieran would get a massive long run in the team to prove himself, and then we'd sell him on for good profit. And that was the catalyst for us getting promoted. We sold Kieran, managed to get in Marcus Stewart, Jermaine Wright, John McGrill, people like that, which helped the team. You get rid of one of your star prospects, and then you get really 3 good experienced players to come in and help you. But I think at that period we were doing really well at developing players. Obviously, we went through some hard times after that, and I'd like to have seen more of Darren Ambrose and Darren Bent but it became a necessity that we had to sell them. We were right up against it in terms of financials, and yeah, that did open the door for other players to get their chance as well. Though the likes of Danny Haynes, Dean Bowditch, they did all get their opportunity after that. But I think as I'm wearing this shirt, it's probably where it all starts to go wrong. This man's probably part to do with that, as well as a few other people on Villains Row. We could have a lineup, couldn't we? Who to blame really? But yeah, I think in recent years, particularly the last, well, ever since Marcus Evans took over, really, is where things started to go wrong. Some of it you can completely understand, perhaps why players weren't given a chance and were let go. There's a few others where you think, why didn't we give them a chance? Because as they've gone on to prove, they've gone on to have really good careers. But yeah, obviously this summer alone, we've seen quite a few players go out the door. Sadly, seeing Liam Gibbs go up to the budgies up the road could come back to bite us in the long run. Jack Lancaster as well, local lad, family are all Ipswich fans. It was a bit of a shame to see him go. I know there's a few injury issues there, but it would have been another nice story to see him coming through. But no, I think we won't talk about the ifs, buts, and maybes that could happen. We'll talk about the ones that definitely got away from us. So I don't know who you want to start with, Ross.
Well, I think we'll start with another academy graduate. I think most of these are, well, three of them are academy graduates. The first one is Josh Emmanuel, a player that was made his debut under Mick McCarthy. He's now at Hull City. When he was released, I think some fans were a bit disappointed, didn't get the opportunity to really burst onto the first team scene. What's your memories of him? And he's done all right for himself. He, of course, was part of the Hull City team who got promoted last year back to the Championship.
It's a bit strange. If we hadn't been going through the Renaissance period that we are now with Donatian, I think we'd probably be clamouring for a bit more because the player that we've been looking for really has been someone that can defend as well as Genoa Donatian can and attack as well as Kane Vincent Young. Now, those periods when Emmanuel came through where you saw very good side of his attacking game, but the defensive game was lacking. But I think by all accounts, his loan spells that he's had in League One really helped him. We've sent him out on loan. I think it was twice, wasn't it? So I think Shrewsbury was one, and it might have been Rotherham.
He had one little spell at Crawley as well, but sometimes they don't count. I think he made like 2 appearances, but
yeah. And I think that did really set him up well. A really big physical lad. I think the one game that really stands out for me was when we beat Newcastle. One hell of a day, but he was fantastic as our right back that day. And I really thought he was going to get his opportunity to kick on from there. But, we had the whole change with the new regime coming in with Paul Hurst. I thought maybe that was his opportunity. Didn't really seem to favour him there. It's the same situation, really, with Miles Kenlock, really. I think some of it's when they had their opportunity, they didn't always grasp it. I think the last game he played for us was against Luton in the Carabao Cup, which, if anyone went, was a terrible game unless you're an Armando Dobra fan. But Emmanuel had a really tough afternoon there, and I think that kind of made Paul Lambert's mind up that he wasn't really going to be the fullback for us. But no, I think he did okay at Bolton as well. I think they were quite impressed with him. And yeah, that earned him his move to Hull City, and who's laughing now? He's ahead of us in the league. And I hope he goes on to prove us wrong for many years to come, because I think he's a good young player. It seems like a really nice lad as well. Doesn't seem to have any sort of bad characteristics about him. Just a nice young lad. So yeah, but it's a shame. But thank God for Genoa Donatian. I did not think I'd be saying that in 2021.
Definitely, and of course, Josh Emmanuel is an absolute unit. He's 24 years of old age right now, so he's still got many years left in his career, and we'll see. I'm sure everyone will follow his career. Fourth place on the list is a man who scored at the Euros, is playing for his country. I did not expect that, and it is Kiefer Moore. When he signed for us, he signed for like 10k or whatever it was from Torquay United or Forest Green or whatever it was, and he was not very good for us, but he's gone on to score buckets of goals, and as I said, scored for his country. Mark, what's your memories of Kiefer Moore? And fair play to the lad, he has gone on to do well.
Yeah, another one where having game time has really helped him. It's quite funny. He's not really cut it this season. I don't know if it's got anything to do with the manager that signed him,
Yeah.
who's now departed. But no, Kiefer Moore. Kiefer Moore. Yeah, I'm a bit like you, Ross. Go sitting there. I did not expect to be sitting here seeing him score at the Euros and be sort of the leading man for the Welsh national team. He looked, to be fair to him, a bit of a fish out of water at times. And it did look like sometimes he was a rabbit in the headlights. It didn't really. I think he came in at the wrong level, maybe, and that's why we sent him out on a couple of occasions to League One to really cut his teeth. But the only real memory I have of Kiefer Moore was I saw him come on for the final day of this. I'm trying to think what season it is now. Might have been 16-17 season, I believe.
Yeah.
We had to go to Nottingham Forest away. They needed to win to stay up. Great game. I was in the home end, fortunately, because I got to kind of enjoy the atmosphere of their, jubilant celebrations whilst being manically depressed as an Ipswich fan after we probably should have been ahead in the first half. Very random team. Can you get? I want you to guess the front three from that game. You might look it up now, but guess the front three. See how far we've come.
Oh,
Kiefer Moore didn't
God.
start.
Oh, 16-17 season. I have no idea. That's a season where I just sort of lost interest.
Do you want me to tell you?
Yeah, tell me. Easy to do
Our,
that. Pitman?
our
Pitman?
front three. No, our
Okay.
front three was Freddie Sears, Dominic Samuel, and Danny Rowe in the
Jeez.
Championship. Yeah. So Kiefer Moore joined that bunch of rogues, and he was so awful. He was the first footballer that ever made me want to go to the toilet halfway through a game and miss some of the action because it was better looking at the toilet bowl than it was watching what was going on the pitch. But no, he's having the last laugh now. Probably could do, well, definitely the last couple of seasons with a striker with his physical presence as well as his finishing ability. And yeah, I think it is one that got away, and I think it's one that does constantly sort of split opinions on the Ipswich Town social media. At the time, when we let him go, we did not need him, and we got good money for him. We made a good profit for him, but it's just where he's gone from there and where we've gone, which is the frustrating thing for us, really. But no, a very good player nowadays, and it just proves sometimes these gambles do pay off. We've had a few gambles that haven't paid off. How much did we pay for Peter Malachek? Was that £8,000? Yeah, doesn't always work, but there is a few Kiefer Moores out there if you do look for them and you know what you're doing. Maybe we will see some more in the future. Who knows?
Definitely. And let's talk about the third choice in our list. And it's a man who scored a lot of goals in the youth team for Ipswich Town. And of course, he's gone and scored a lot of goals for other teams. And that is Jack Marriott, a player that was pretty much told he was too fat, pretty much, I think, in pre-season.
Yeah, I believe that was Mick McCarthy again, wasn't it? But yeah, I think another one where you look at the lad and he's not the biggest bloke in the world. I think he's not very tall at all. He's about 5'8", 7", something like that. But he knows where the back of the net is. Fair play to him. And again, dropping down the levels. I went to Luton, didn't he? I believe, and then Peterborough, scoring goals for fun. He is back at Peterborough now, I believe. But he's one of these players that when big moments, you need a goal in a big moment, he always seems to be the one that's there. And those players are quite rare nowadays. But I think at the time, coming through, probably Mick, to his credit, had a very difficult job on his hands, and he probably needed senior pros to come in over blooding a youngster, particularly when you need to be scoring goals, at that end of the pitch. Daryl Murphy, I think, was coming into his golden season just after, or it may have been around the time that we let him go as well. So it's going to be hard, and I think some of these players, you can understand perhaps why the club let them go, but it's just disappointing to see where they've gone on to go from here, really. But yeah, Marriott, I don't think he's had the greatest couple of years, the last couple of years, but he is a proven goal scorer if you give him the right service. And yeah, it's a shame to see. Well, we're going to go on to, I think everyone probably is going to guess who the number one is, but we've seen a few strikers who have been let go, who've gone on to be really good football league strikers, and it is a real shame. But no, at least we've got Macaulay Bonne back. Maybe we're going to repay our debts somewhat.
Definitely, somewhat indeed. And Jack Marriott, let's quickly get his name. He's 27. He's still very young, but yeah,
Oh,
he
bloody
got
hell.
released. It's he's still got a lot of years left into him, and we'll have to wait and see what he does back at Peterborough.
Yeah.
But second place is a man who, well, was here and then he was gone pretty much after a season. Signed by
Mm.
Roy Keane from Sunderland, and that is Conor Horan, who's gone on to, well, win promotion to the Premier League, play for the Republic Islands seniors team, and yeah, played for our reserves, and then just got let go and pretty much went back up the leagues, and he's done all right. What's your memories of him? And you're wearing the kit I think he played in.
Yeah. Well,
Not
it
properly,
didn't.
yeah.
Yeah, he didn't play. A kit he signed in. Yeah, but my memories of Conor Hourihane are very little. It was one of them players who he just disappeared. He came in. I know he's not exactly your marquee son. I think he came in the same summer we got Martin Fulop and Jason Scotland, I believe. That's Roy Keane's second year, full season that he was here. And you just thought, okay, I think perhaps maybe a victim of the times that we didn't really know how he was getting on. I don't think youth football was really reported on or read into as much as it is nowadays, at least. And yeah, he just completely sort of vanished and dropped down a few levels. I think I read an interview, that was his intention leaving Sunderland, that he wanted to leave to get an opportunity where he thought he was going to play. And, he thought dropping down one level would enable him to do that. Unfortunately for him, he had to drop down even further. But like so many on this list, if you work hard and find a place where you can play your best football, you can really go on to prove the people who let you go wrong. And yeah, I think we were talking just before we came on how we were crying out for that sort of midfielder. Someone, he's not exactly prolific as a goal scorer, but he can bloody belt a ball if he wants to. He's great at set pieces, got great delivery, and just really dictates the midfield. And we've been crying out for that for a number of years now. And yeah, we've been lucky, fingers crossed, for the people that we've got in now. But it just seems that he's another one that really got away from us. And it's one of them ones probably similar to Macaulay Bonne and Nick Pope, where you don't really know what you've got until he goes and proves it somewhere else, really, where he's actually been given an opportunity. But yeah, again, maybe that's another one where, I know Roy Keane, he certainly had an eye for talent. I think if you look at some of the players that we had during his tenure, either permanent or on loan, a lot of them did go on to play Premier League football. We went far away from having a full team of probably players that you probably could say give it a go at staying up in the Premier League, but just never really worked out for us for whatever reason. I don't think maybe wrong manager at the wrong time for us when we needed someone maybe who could oversee the changes that were going on a little bit better without such an iron fist. But no, it's a shame, but here we are. Here we are. That's how it goes with it, which we're definitely used to that nowadays.
Definitely. And well, let's get to number one then. I think everyone can guess it. Everyone's probably been shouting at us. We know who it is. It's Jordan Rhodes. Of course it is. A man who could have been leading our line for many years, but got released, pretty much got sold to Huddersfield. Of course, was prolific in the youth academy. I think he scored on his debut for us in the Cup and then played a handful of games. They went to Huddersfield, went to Blackburn, scored, shed loads of goals. Has been maybe not as prolific in the most recent years. And of course, now he's not really a big fan of, or fans are not really a big fan of him anymore because he went to Norwich and did what he did. But Jordan Rhodes, that he's always been talked about. He's been linked to returns to Ipswich many times as well, but just one let go too soon. And well, what we could have had, we just couldn't have.
Yeah, I think there was bad blood between Roy Keane and his father, wasn't there? Andy
Yeah.
Rhodes was goalkeeping coach for a number of years, I believe, working with the reserve team and really wanted to push Jordan into the first team picture, I believe. I'm sure Joe Fairs is very good. He'd probably know the full story. Going back there, he knows his academy stories. But yeah, it's the one that really hurts us. I think at the time we spent however many people who wore this shirt pretty much. We had Thomas Priskin for however much we paid for him. Scotland, I did like Jason Scotland, but he never really kicked on. And you just thought that young player that we really needed, just someone that's going to tuck chances away with absolute ease. It probably was Jordan Rhodes in there. You saw him do it. I think when he was doing it at Huddersfield, it wasn't so much of a worry for people because it was, League One then was a distant, oh God, we don't ever have to worry about League One. It's never going to happen to Ipswich. We're in the Championship. We've been here for years, long serving, custodians of the Championship. We'll never go into League One, but he came up to Blackburn, did exactly the same thing. I think worked really well with Rudy Gestead. I think always thrived off having a partner next to him, just to do all the dirty work, and he'd just stick it in the net and take all the glory. But yeah, like you said, I think he went to Middlesbrough, and that's kind of where it sort of tailed off. He didn't fit in with Middlesbrough and didn't quite adjust to the Premier League as everyone was expecting him to, and it's kind of went downhill from there. He went for that big money move to Sheffield Wednesday, which is, he's on such big money there and never really delivered. That loan spell at Norwich, I mean, he didn't do nothing. He got pocketed by Luke Chambers, I think, in that game we did play him. Was that 1-1 or 1-0? I can't remember what it was. Either way, Derby's a distant memory now as well. So, but yeah, you just think what could have been. Luckily, we had Connor Wickham coming through, which kind of distracted us a little bit. But if we had both have gone on to have decent careers. We probably expect them to do a little bit better than they have done. But they would have been top level Championship strikers, and maybe would have been a real breath of fresh air, really. In the Championship to have two homegrown strikers, and they complemented each other really well. Jordan Rhodes is more of a finisher. Connor Wickham was sort of this. It was weird, Connor Wickham, when he was quite gangly, but he was like big. He was stocky but gangly at the same time. Is that a thing? I don't know if that's a thing. Yeah, a bit like me, but bigger. But yeah, he was. It would have been a good compliment to each other. But yeah, it's making me a little bit depressed, Roscoe, thinking about some of these players. But
no, we have the Macaulay Bond story. That's what's inspired
exactly.
this, of course.
All these stories have a happy ending, and he's going to come back, and he's going to be ours. If we keep saying it, it's going to happen. Yeah. Trust me. Yeah. But yeah, that is probably it until we're sat down here. We're both a bit older and got less hair and fatter and blinder and talking about Jack Lancaster, who's gone on to play for England. I think hopefully those days are behind us. And I think, as you can see with the new regime, we seem to be protecting ourselves a lot better with players coming in. And I don't think we'll see too many let go at the wrong time now. Hopefully, anyway.
Yeah, he's hopefully, and I'm sure we may have missed anybody. So let us know in the comments. Is there any players we missed? If you're a Ipswich fan in the 80s and 90s and saw players get released, you were sad to see them go too early. Yeah. Let us know. But I think it's to look back that far. Yeah. It's not that far even, but
yeah. You can shout at us, bloody kids. Bloody kids don't know whoever.
But Mark, it's been a pleasure. Thanks so much for joining me. Hope everybody's enjoyed watching another KOA 5. Josh Emmanuel, Jack Marriott, Kiefer Moore, Jordan Rhodes. Who have I missed? Horan. Yeah, those 5 players.
That is his time at Ipswich. You generally forget he was here, which is a shame.
Sorry, Connor. But there we go. Hopefully, we won't need to make any more lists. Hopefully, we won't be releasing players too soon. Hopefully, we won't be selling players too soon. I hope you've enjoyed another one of these videos. Make sure to look out for many more to come. Mark, it's been a pleasure, and bye-bye for now.
As always, mate.